The greatest quarterback of his generation was suspended from professional football for 4 games. Not for a hit, not for a drug, but for the air pressure inside a football. The league said he knew exactly what was happening to those footballs before kickoff. He said he had no idea. It took a 1,000-page investigation, a federal court case, and 18 months of argument to decide who was telling the truth, and the fight over the answer nearly cost a Super Bowl champion his legacy. January 18, 2015. The New England Patriots are blowing out the Indianapolis Colts in the AFC Championship Game on their way to a 4th Super Bowl appearance under Tom Brady and head coach Bill Belichick. Nobody in the stadium is thinking about air pressure. Midway through the second quarter, Colts linebacker DeQuell Jackson intercepts a Brady pass, and the moment he catches it, the ball feels wrong in his hands. Too soft. He hands it to the Colts equipment staff, who quietly raise the alarm. Word reaches the Colts front office before halftime, and from there, it goes straight to the NFL's game officials. At halftime, referees pull all 12 of the Patriots game balls and the 4 Colts balls aside and test every one with a pressure gauge. What they find will hang over the league and over Brady personally for the next year and a half. 11 of the Patriots' 12 footballs test below the league's required minimum of 12.5 pounds per square inch, some by more than 2 full pounds. The Patriots go on to win the game by 38 points. The football's inflation level had nothing to do with the score, but the NFL doesn't investigate lopsided wins. It investigates whether a team altered equipment to gain an edge, and that's exactly what this looks like from the outside. The league brings in attorney Ted Wells to lead an independent investigation, and his team reconstructs something oddly specific from stadium surveillance footage. About 90 minutes before kickoff, after the officials have already inspected and approved the game balls, a Patriots locker room attendant named Jim McNally carries the ball bag into a bathroom alone. He's in there for 1 minute and 40 seconds before rejoining the officials' locker room. Investigators later recover weeks of text messages between McNally and Patriots equipment assistant John Jastrzemski. In one exchange from October, McNally jokingly refers to himself as the Deflater. In another, he complains about needing a needle to get the balls to where Brady wants them. Read in isolation on a slide in a press conference. The messages sound like a smoking gun. Read in full by people who know locker room culture. Both men insist it's just crude banter between friends who've worked together for years. Brady holds his own press conference days later and flatly denies any knowledge of the deflation, denies ever directing anyone to alter the football, and denies any unusual preference for how firm they should be. He does confirm one detail almost in passing that investigators will seize on. In the days right after the story broke, his calls and texts with McNally spiked noticeably. Routine catching up, Brady said. Suspicious cleanup, the league will later argue. Then, Brady's camp makes the decision that ends up defining the entire scandal. When the NFL formally requests his phone and text records as part of the investigation, Brady declines, citing privacy. It later emerges that around the same time he sat down for his interview with Wells's team, his old phone was destroyed and replaced. The Wells report can never prove Brady personally ordered anyone to deflate a football. What it can point to, over and over, is that he wouldn't help investigators find out either way. The story explodes into a genuine national obsession in a way few equipment disputes ever have. Sports radio devotes entire shows to pounds per square inch. Late-night hosts build monologues around it. Rival fan bases treat it as confirmation of something they'd suspected about the Patriots dynasty for years, going back to an earlier videotaping controversy. Patriots fans treat it as a witch hunt against the league's most successful team. There is very little middle ground in how the public receives it. Brady's defenders raise a genuinely scientific counterpoint almost immediately. Cold weather alone can lower a football's internal air pressure by roughly the amount investigators measured through basic physics, the ideal gas law, the same principle that makes a car tire red lower on a freezing morning. It was 48 degrees and dropping that night. MIT-trained physicists and engineers take opposing sides publicly, and for a few weeks in early 2015, the entire scandal looks like it might collapse into a debate about gas laws rather than cheating. But when the 243-page Wells report is finally released in May 2015, it leans far more heavily on the bathroom detour and the texts than on the physics, concluding it's more probable than not that McNally and Jastrzemski deliberately deflated the balls, and that Brady was at least generally aware of it. The league suspends Brady 4 games without pay, fines the Patriots $1 million, and strips them of a first-round and a fourth-round draft pick, one of the harshest penalties in NFL history for an on-field integrity violation that never touched a scale, a stopwatch, or a banned substance. Brady and the NFL Players Association appeal immediately, arguing Commissioner Roger Goodell acted as investigator, prosecutor, judge, and appeals officer all in one, hardly a neutral process. A federal judge in New York agrees in September 2015 and vacates the suspension entirely. For about 7 months, Brady is fully cleared and plays the whole 2015 season. The NFL appeals that ruling to a higher court the same day. In April 2016, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals reverses the lower court in a 2-1 decision, ruling that under the terms of the NFL's own collective bargaining agreement, Goodell had the authority to act exactly as he did, whether or not every piece of the underlying science was airtight. The court isn't ruling on whether Brady cheated. It's ruling that the process the league used to punish him was allowed. Brady and the union asked the full court to rehear the case. In July 2016, the judges say no in a one-sentence order that closes the door for good. Rather than risk it at the Supreme Court, Brady announces he'll simply accept the 4-game suspension nearly a year and a half after that AFC Championship game and sits out the first month of the 2016 season. Brady returns in Week 5 of 2016 and leads New England to a Super Bowl title that same season, capping one of the more pointed revenge tours in league history. The NFL, meanwhile, permanently rewrites how it handles game balls. Officials now supervise every football continuously from pre-game inspection straight through to kickoff. No locker room, no bathroom, no 90-second gap for anyone to argue about ever again. The full case file, the Wells report, the recovered text messages, and the physics debate people still argue about online today is linked below. New files unlocked every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one.